Hey there, Do Hockey fans. Welcome to the 14th edition of my weekly video rant. Got a good deal of comments to get through, so let's get going. First up, someone writes my phone number and they're saying, okay, that's gross, I'm not even reading that one. Next, Poppy said, what kind of effect do you think Flacco's early draft pick will have on UDEL's football program? Well, another one about Joe Flacco. Okay, that's cool. We can talk about my school's football team. That's fine. I think it'll be very good for the UD football program for sure. It'll give them a lot of positive attention knowing that someone can go there and be put in a position to succeed like that. Like it's going to make the program look really good for prospective high school students who don't think they're good enough for a big 1A program, and for transfers, guys who are in a big 1A program and don't think they're going to get any playing time there. So I'd say that Delaware, it's already an attractive place, already was, considering they got one of the biggest 1AA stadiums, over 22,000 people that fill up the place every week, every home game. And Coach Casey Keeler is a great coach, and Delaware's a powerhouse program. The playoffs are a regularity, so go to Delaware if you're good at football. Help us out. Help us win another championship. And Coach Keeler, you can pay me whenever you want for your recruiting help. Thanks. Just kidding. Okay, next up, Stinky Butt said, do you think that fighting in hockey is interlaced into the fundamental code of hockey and thus is necessary in positioning the sport amongst other sports? Or does each instance represent a regression to hockey's early pioneering roots that focused on win despite cost mentalities, once embraced for their effect on man's ability to survive, but now considered unnecessary and immature? And have you ever... Okay, that second part's gross. I'm not reading that. But the first one's actually a very good question. I think that fighting is a necessary part of hockey. It's a way to settle the score. Sometimes you really hate someone that much in the other team, and it's a way that you guys can, well, as even as the matchup is, evenly duke it out and settle your score. See who's the better fighter and who can back up their words when the guys talk trash out there. And also, it's a good way of retribution, you could say. Like, instead of cheap shots, like someone gives your guy a cheap shot, you go at him and fight him and take him on in a actual legal means. Legal as in you'll get a 5-minute major, but you won't get thrown out of the game. In other sports, when someone gives you a cheap shot, you end up responding with other cheap shots, and I don't think that's a good thing. I think that just keeps the cycle going of guys giving each other cheap shots instead of duking it out and ending it once and for all. Same thing in European hockey. There's no fighting allowed there, and I think there should be. But I think fighting's a necessary part of the game. Plus, the fans love it. And say your team's down 3-0 in the first period, and a guy on your team beats the crap out of a guy on another team. It gives your team and the crowd energy. Even though you're down 3-0, everyone's amped, everyone's pumped, everyone's cheering, and it could give you some momentum to get back into the game. So yeah, fighting's good. Now, Peony said, what is the single most important lesson that can be taken from hockey and applied to the rest of the world? Also, would you rather... Man, who is this guy? Drop my notes, I'm so upset. Okay, I'm not upset, I'm just pissed. Who is this guy that they're asking legit questions about hockey and then asking really, really disgusting ones of a sexual nature? Dude, just stick to the hockey questions. Don't even ask those disgusting ones. I'm not going to answer them. Stop polluting my guest book with that crap. You understand? Now, as for your serious question, I'd say the most important lesson that can be taken from hockey is the importance of being a team player. Unselfishness is very important. Selfishness usually leads to failure because instead of doing what's best for the team, you only do what's best for yourself, and that's often not what's best for the team, and the lack of sacrifice ends up to the team's performance breaking down and losing. So selfishness leads to losing. Remember that. Next up, Curious said, does God have feet? I'm sorry, I don't know. I haven't met the guy. Maybe I'll find out after. Maybe I'll find out after you die. And I guess I'll find out after we die. Only if you believe in God, though. Atheists, you won't know. Great. I don't feel like discussing religion. Don't bring religion into this. Come on. Okay. Next up. Oh, my cousin's back. Louis D. He writes, Dewey, I read in your opinion section that you've did Montreal in 6. What is the matter with you? You have obviously not seen the playoffs. The Flyers were on fire, and apparently so is your brain. Tell Holocaust hero that Jesus isn't real. Suck on that. Your insanely cool cousin, Lewis. Yeah, thanks for shouting, Lewis. That's why I read in a little increased volume, because he put it in all caps. Don't, Lou, I like you commenting. You have good stuff, but don't shout. Now, to answer your question, I've seen every second of Flyers hockey in this playoffs. I saw all the first round, and let me tell you why I picked Montreal in 6. The Flyers' goaltending and defense wasn't that good in the first round. They struggled against Washington, and then they were going up against Montreal, who has an even better offense. Plus, they were on a roll going with the shutout going into the series. What I didn't know was that Marty Biron was going to play like the second coming of Bernie Perron against the Habs, and that R.J. Umberger was not going to play like R.J. Umberger, but he was going to play like past Flyers snipers such as Reggie Leach, Tim Kerr, and John LeClair. He scored 8 goals against the Canadiens. Nobody expected that. If you expected that, you must be R.J. Umberger's mother. Because he definitely surprised us all. But I loved it. I love the Flyers. I loved it. I'm glad they made my prediction wrong. And now I think they have what it takes to beat the Penguins. As long as Biron keeps playing really well and guys like Umberger keep scoring. One more comment. It's should have bought from me, asshole, said Shane Falco better than Joe Flacco. Where do I begin? What's wrong with that? I guess I'll start with the grammar. I think you mean should have bought from me, asshole. Whatever that means. But it should have, not should of. Nice job. And you say Shane Falco better than Joe Flacco. No, just no. Keanu Reeves is a terrible actor, and anything involving him is inferior to anyone. So, no. Keanu Reeves I don't care if it's an imaginary character. He's not better than Joe Flacco. Kind of interesting you put that up, though, because Shane Falco played his games at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, and Joe Flacco's going to as well. Bet you didn't expect that. Weird coincidence, huh? Okay, that's it. Those are all the comments for this week. At least those are all the questions that I felt like addressing. People, let's try to keep it clean and try to stick to hockey. Well, you don't have to, but at least don't put comments about nasty sexual stuff, because if they're really gross, I'm just not even going to read them. I'm not going to, especially not going to answer them. So keep it clean, all right? Thanks, folks. See you next week.